evening and welcome to Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio. It is December 18th, 2019, and you're here with your hosts, Lauren Smith and Dustin Clark. How are you, Dustin?
I am doing pretty good, Lauren. Just ready to get Christmas over with. How are you doing?
Same. Fabulous. Well, great. So we are having this show tonight just to kind of go over the outing that we recently got to have in Fouke, Arkansas. And so we have Stephen Hill on tonight with us. He was there. He was kind enough to show us around, him and Will Lunsford. So we're going to have Stephen kind of walk through some of the stuff with us. And he was actually there for the sighting that happened over the weekend as well. So we'll get into that later, but we're just going to go over the weekend a little bit before we get into that. Is there anything that you have to add before that? You want to talk about the weather or anything, Dustin?
No, I don't think I have any new important news besides the sighting, and just that it was an awesome weekend and can't wait to talk about it some more.
All right. How are you doing tonight, Stephen?
I'm doing good, and hope y'all are doing well too.
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't just start that, did you?
I did. It's been a long week, and it's only Wednesday. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, Dustin, you want to start us off?
Yeah, we left December 6th and drove down there. For me and Lauren, it's roughly about the same 5-hour drive down there, so she drove down here and rode with me down there, and we had a 5-hour drive. Well, she slept most of the way down there, but we talked about some ideas for the show and other outings and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we got down there, and it seemed like once we got there, it seemed like it took all day to get there, but once we got there, it was like time stood still. Like, we kept checking our phones, thinking it was supposed to be like 5 or 6 o'clock, the sun might be going down, but it was only it felt like it was 2 o'clock for about 3 hours, but we weren't complaining.
It did.
Usually we get out to these outings.
We're so excited to be there.
And, but usually on these outings we get there at, an hour or so before dark, and, we have to hurry up and get camp set up, get a fire going, and, we even stopped at the Monster Mart coming in, and we spent an hour and a half there. We met Shane down there, and once we got to camp and got everything set up, it was just like, okay, now what do we do now? Usually we have to wait, or it's after dark, and that's when everything starts. So it was actually, it was really good that first day to just get there and get to relax. And then everybody started showing up. We met some great new friends, ran into William and Steven. They came by. We met Randy Edwards, one of our people, Shelly, she showed up. Randy also brought his 2 grandsons, which he only brought them to the camp, which they were completely fine there. They were awesome kids.
They were so well behaved.
Yeah, they were really well behaved. Then Mr. Bill showed up just before dark, and he can't see in the dark to drive, so he was kind of panicking getting there because he doesn't know how to use his GPS. So I had to leave everybody at camp and go track him down, and somehow he went all the way around Fouke and came in the back way. And then we had Tanya Knight show up, and then Keith Crabtree actually camped with us, and it was a blast having him there. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
Shane.
That might have been all that came.
Shane.
I said Shane like twice, I think. Oh, and then Kendall got there late that night.
Yeah.
No, he got there late Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and then
Randy Crawford.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Randy Crawford came. I haven't
and
seen
James
him.
Riley came.
James Riley, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
it was fun to get back down there. Me and SBA went there 3 years ago, and we made the mistake of going in June, and it was hot, sweaty, miserable. The mosquitoes they could probably, if enough got on you, they probably would have picked you up off the ground, but the chiggers were
mm-hmm.
enough to keep you on the ground. So it was a nice relief going and getting there in wintertime, and it being nice, cool days, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. The weather was perfect. You know, I like talking about the weather. But yeah, it was a perfect weather. It was a good group of people, and like Dustin said, it was like time stood still for that first day. We were all sitting there, we're like, well, should we go explore? Should we take a nap? What do we do? And it was great. It was great. Yeah.
Yes, it was. So that had to be a good birthday weekend for you, Dustin.
It was the best birthday weekend. Even though I had to drive all the way down there and all the way back, it was still an awesome drive. It was awesome.
Can I just say that I offered to drive and I got shut down?
Oh no.
Well, the reason you got shut down is because I've seen you drive your car, and yeah, I don't think I could have handled it in my truck.
Listen, Santa is not going to come visit you. I just feel like you should know that. Here's a warning. You're being rude.
So it's all right.
Okay, for all the kids listening, it's because Santa doesn't like him. That's why he had to buy his own gifts. Okay, everybody? Jesus. But it was a great weekend. So I think we hung around Friday and we made dinner, and then we all decided we were going to go out. So where did we go first?
We went to Thornton's Wells, and that's we got out and we everybody kind of we sat around for a little bit and listened, and then was that Stephen? Was that I forgot? Was that was an old forestry trail, wasn't it? That we took forestry road.
Yeah, it was it's an old forestry road that they have gated off now. So walking in was the only option that we had. And but that Thornton's Wells, that's a pretty popular spot. It's William, he refers to it as a community hole. So many people know about it, but it's still a place that produces time and time again. You know, as y'all know, Friday night we went down in there. We walked in. I don't know. We probably walked in 3/4 of a mile or a mile. We did find some interesting stuff. You know, and it was down there when we walked in where we stopped at. That's where William did a call, and he actually got a tree knock in return to it. And I was separated. I was out there in the woods. I was looking around at different things that I found of interest. So I had to walk back closer to William so I could ask him, "Did you do a mouth pop?" And he told me no. And then when we got back to where y'all had stopped, you know, and y'all had stopped. So when I got back to where y'all were at, you know, that's when I asked y'all, "Did y'all do a tree knock?" And y'all said no. So that's when we were pretty sure that we had something down there in the woods with us. And,
when when Lauren and I were stopped there, and because what we had done is we had stopped and let the rest of the group keep going, just to see if maybe anything was following us by chance from a distance. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember. I don't think we heard anything from where we were at. But it was
deathly silent where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very quiet.
But we go ahead. Oh
no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Dustin.
Oh, it's all right. We ended up walking back to the trucks, and we were all standing there talking, and Lauren actually walked away from the group down the road, and that's when things got a little frustrating, but also slightly exciting at the same time. So, yeah. Lauren, you want to tell them what happened with that?
Oh, poor Dustin. So I'm always that person that I walk off into the woods by myself because I'm smart like that. And I walked off, and I was hearing. Well, first of all, acorns were falling like crazy in those woods. So you just, anytime you thought you heard something, you just don't know if you were actually hearing something. But I was hearing footsteps, and I know it wasn't acorns because anytime I'd walk closer to the woods, I'd hear footsteps. But it was on like three sides of me. And so if I walked closer to this side, I would hear footsteps and then hear something knock on another side. And then I'd turn that way and I'd hear footsteps. Anyway, so I'm standing over there doing this dance by my damn self, and finally I just went straight in one direction and walked up on this ridge. So I'm standing up there, and I'm listening because I'm hearing footsteps. And I'm trying to decide, is it, a possum, an armadillo, a squirrel? What is back there walking around? And so I'm standing there just waiting for the right moment to light it up. And Dustin comes to join me. And so I told him what was going on. And we're standing there, and he's hearing stuff, but he's like, well, I think it's just acorns. And I'm like, no, I heard footsteps. Like, I'm hearing footsteps. Anyway, so we're standing there, and he's like, well, let's go back to the truck. We're going to go back to a different spot. Reaches down, turns his recorder off, and I think it was an owl, screamed at us right then. I mean, scared the ever living out of us. It screamed, and then it goes hoo hoo, and did a hoot. And he looks at me. Dustin looked at me. He's like, I just turned my recorder off. He was so mad. Oh man, he was. And then he does a double bird to the woods and turns around and walks off. And I'm like, well, you done pissed a Bigfoot off and left me here to get eaten. Oh, and I think, right after that, there was, I don't know if it was an acorn or a stick or something came out of the woods, was thrown at us. Right after he flipped him off and walked off, something landed real close to us, and there were no trees above us. And so that's when I was like, you done pissed him off and left me here to get eaten. Hateful.
And what's funny is, oh, go ahead.
No, it was funny. It was funny whenever you came back up there because you were so mad you were ready to throw your recorder into the woods and you just wanted to go back to camp.
He was trying to get in the truck and leave.
But what is funnier, which I think it's funny now, is everybody was, giving me crap like, oh, see, you're not supposed to turn your recorder off. And I didn't think of it, but the next day I was like, Lauren, where was your recorder? Did you get it? She's like, oh, it was in my backpack in the truck. It was in the truck. So a lot of good that would have done.
Yeah.
I didn't let him know about that until the next day. We are awesome researchers, Stephen. We are awesome.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, man.
This is what William refers to as Murphy's Law of Bigfooting.
Every time.
It's going to go wrong. Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, but we did have more fun that night, though, didn't we?
We did. Well, I did.
Down the road, didn't we?
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dustin had all that much fun.
When his elbow popped, I don't know if it was much fun then.
No.
So we walked down this road after we got Dustin a little bit calmed down because he was so upset about not catching that on his recorder. So Steven and Shane had walked down this road, and we went and joined them, and we had something thrown at us, I think, like right on the side of the ditch. And so I told Dustin, and it hit the side of the bank right there by us. And it wasn't an acorn because it was sheltered. Like, it hit underneath this ledge. Anyway, so Dustin threw a rock into the woods. And I was like, okay, you know. I'm sorry. I still have this visual image in my mom just texted me to tell me you never turn the recorder off, just in case y'all are wondering. She's listening to the show.
Thanks, Lori.
Anyway, so Dustin was throwing a rock into the woods, and I said, hey, the next rock, why don't you go act like you're going to throw it forward, but turn around and throw it the other way instead and surprise them. And that mental image will stay with me for the rest of my life. He did this, like, ballet football move, and bless his heart, he tried. He threw the rock behind him-ish, popped his elbow out of joint. He could barely move his arm. It was hilarious. Didn't get any kind of reaction from the woods, but I think we were all laughing too hard to even know if
something would have been going on. We weren't going to hear it, especially after Shane did an instant replay of it. Shane's instant replay of it was great.
That was so good. Oh man, that was hilarious. First off, have you ever seen Ace Ventura: Pet Detective when he dresses up as Ray Finkel? Picture that, but in the woods, minus the tutu. That is what happened, and it was great.
Yes, it was great.
It's fine.
That was better than the call we missed.
Yeah, it was good. Like sometimes, I feel like sometimes you just gotta. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it wasn't my elbow, by the way. It was my shoulder. Thank you very much. Thanks for worrying about me.
Shoulder, we heard.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
That wasn't a rock. That wasn't a rock clack. That was my shoulder going out.
Yeah, it was loud. Oh my gosh,
we all heard
that was so funny. But Shane's instant replay was better than your actual attempt. No offense.
Yeah,
Shane's
was a rocky
road.
Shane put with it.
It was a rocky road. Oh, okay. Here we go.
It was a rocky
road,
happened? And my foot slipped. All right.
Oh, his foot slipped. He sounds like a pro NFL player right now. That's fine. Oh, good Lord. If my foot
and after that, I think that was about it that happened that night. Oh, wait, no. After that, we all kind of regrouped back at the trucks, and Will had to go home. And he rode with Steven, so Steven had to take him home. And it was like, Shane said it best. It was like once Shane and Will left, it was like, all right, Dad's gone. Now we're going to make some noise. And
once the parents left us all alone.
Yeah. None of the vocals were very close, but there was a few howls out there that sounded pretty cool. I actually haven't gone over the audio. I got that on audio. And
I'm so proud.
But I haven't listened to it yet. But they gave me crap for turning my recorder off in that moment all night long. And then I think we all ended up going back to camp. We all went back to camp.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was dead tired. So we're all in bed, and I left my recorder in my tent recording. So if anything happened at night in camp, we would hear it. Well, I was almost asleep, and something popped off, a big yell way off in the distance, and then the coyotes went nuts. And right after they stopped, I think I texted everybody and was like, I actually got that one on audio. Thank you very much. So everybody got to wake up to that text message the next morning.
With a whole lot of middle fingers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I caught that one. He was so proud. You've done so good. So we gave him so much crap for not catching that, and then he goes and has his first sighting just to show us all, that he's got this. But so
it was on purpose.
So the next it was. You planned that just for that reason. You had to redeem yourself. Yeah. So the next day we got up, Dustin made his amazing breakfast for everybody, and we decided we were going to take the canoes and canoe across the lake and up the little bayou. Go ahead, Dustin.
Oh, I didn't know you were done. I thought you were going to keep going with that.
Well, you did all the rowing, so I feel like you should tell the story.
Yeah, I got to do all the rowing instead of taking all the selfies. So we rowed up into this one spot that the last time we were there I was wanting to check out, but it was completely covered in water and, well, for the most part completely covered in water, but the trees are kind of close together and it's hard to get the boats up into it, or the canoes. And so we finally found a spot and docked up in there, and it was just a forest of cypress trees, and the ground was so soft it felt like we were basically walking on sponges. And it had those really fine cypress leaves. It was just a mat on the ground, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And
with sticks
we walked
under
in there.
It, so you thought you were going to be sneaky and walk across this carpet, but there were sticks under all those leaves, so it was like just crack, crack, crack.
But I forgot. Did you have a feeling in there, Lauren? I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Or did you want to talk about that?
Yes. I mean, there wasn't much to it. I was like high off of nature, so I was just having a grand old time, and of course split off and went my own way and hiked back into this little clearing, and there was a lot of hog sign, but other than that, it was gorgeous. You could see the water line on all the trees, and so Tanya actually hiked back there later and found me. And so we are planning on going back and actually camping on that area if we can get to it, if there's not water over it and stuff. So, but yeah, it was just a really, really peaceful place. Like I really enjoyed it. But on the way out, we kind of had some issues because, it's right next to a gun range. So on the way out, I had – this is what makes me upset. So I had turned around in the canoe. Instead of facing forward, I had turned around to face Dustin, and I was joking with him saying, I told him he needed to sing to me, like in Little Rascals. He didn't. It was rude. But I had turned around to face him so that I could watch behind us and see if anything was following us out, like tracking us out to make sure we left. And so I turned around to look behind us, and we hear this whiz over our heads, and then something hit the tree on the other side of the bank. And I thought, because I'm dumb, I thought something threw a rock, or somebody threw a rock, because Shane and Shelly and all them were supposed to be hiking back there. And so I thought, oh, maybe they threw a rock at us to be funny. And then I said, oh, did somebody throw a rock? And Dustin said, oh, no, that was a bullet. And I'm like, oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah,
we're going to die.
So that gun range has a dirt berm at one end of it, and somebody was shooting a really big gun. And I think what it was the bullet was just basically clearing through the berm, and it was coming over our heads, and you can hear it. The zzz is basically the bullet tumbling and hitting the trees as it's going through. Well, that happened.
My impression did not sound that good.
Yeah. It happened once or twice, and, there's no cause for alarm because it's way over our head. Well, we keep rowing, and all of a sudden we hear a pow. We hear a pow, and it's a lot closer. It's right in the tree line from where we are, just about, maybe 30, 40 yards behind us. And me and Mr. Bill, we look at each other and that wasn't at the gun range. That's right here close to us. And just about then, it's pow, 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 pow. We thought we were getting shot at, but I never saw where the bullets were hitting. But I could hear it. Me and Bill both heard the bullets hitting the water, and I was upset.
Okay, before we get into your temper tantrum, so when that first bullet hit, right after that hit, and I looked at Dustin and said, was that a rock? And he said, no, that was a bullet, because it hit that tree and it was so loud. Mr. Bill started saying, I see it, there it is, there it is, there it is. And we look up, and him and Tanya, their canoe is facing the forest where we just came from. And he said when that bullet hit that tree, he saw something run behind another tree. It's like the bullet hit and startled whatever it was, and it ran behind this tree, but it wouldn't come out from behind this tree. And so he had Tanya, the whole canoe facing that, and Tanya had her phone up. She's ready to film it, and it would never come out. And so he's sitting there. He's like, why won't it come out? And then all of a sudden next to us, something lands in the water next to it, just a big splash. We all look at that splash and then look back at that tree, and we never saw what went behind the tree. Nothing ever came out. And I told him, I said, you guys, I said, when that thing splashed next to us, whatever it was took off. That was a distraction. And so eventually we just kind of gave up waiting and started rowing back. None of us wanted to be shot. And then as we started paddling again, that's when the second bullet came right over our heads. I say right over our heads. You know what? I don't care if it was way over our heads. I don't want to be shot at in my general vicinity, you know? Yeah. Call me weird. But yeah, but that was pretty crazy that it startled, like I said, something following us out to make sure we left, and it startled it, whatever it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then on our way back, it was like we had all of that excitement and anger at being shot at, and then just real low came a bald eagle just flying over the lake, and I told Lauren that was quite majestic.
Oh, is that what you said? Yeah, Tanya points out, she says, look, a bald eagle, a bald eagle. All of us are gazing at this eagle flying over the lake. It was a very peaceful moment, a good opportunity to calm down after almost being shot. And
or even take a picture.
Dustin's just sitting in the back of the canoe. He's Mr. National Geographic back there, and he's like, that's majestic as, it was hilarious. But it was a beautiful place. It was, I was high off of nature by that point. I was good to go. I was more than ready to go back to that place in the dark. But we did not go back there that night. So maybe next time.
So after that, we hung out in camp for a while. Shane made his delicious barbecue chicken over the fire, which was the best.
It was really good. Bill's chicken was good too, though.
Oh yeah, Bill made beer can chicken over a campfire, which it took like 3.5 hours, but it was still pretty delicious.
It was a late night snack. It was amazing.
Yeah, but we sat around, swapped stories, got to sit down and catch up with Keith Crabtree, which was pretty awesome. And I don't remember if anything else really happened at camp until we left. Well,
go ahead.
I think, didn't Tanya think she heard a hog or something?
Oh.
Right before we left?
I think she... Right, yeah, that's right, because she had me and Shane go over there with her because she was nervous. She was nervous, and she said that I think she heard it or saw it, and it was huge, and it made her nervous because she didn't know what to do with something that ginormous walking around. And then I think Keith had confirmed it later that it was a giant hog. He found tracks or sign over there. So, but yeah, it was. She was nervous, but then by the time we left, she was okay. So both nights that we went out, Tanya actually stayed at camp. She wanted to stay at camp and kind of, I guess, see what activity happened in camp with everyone gone. See kind of if anything came up. Kind of curious about, what we left behind, or this one person alone in camp. So she was armed, like she was good to go, but she stayed, and she said she heard calls, just a whole group of calls, and she said that was pretty cool, but she didn't really have any other action other than that, I don't think. So the next night, or that night, so we all left. Go ahead, Dustin. You were the driver, and we're getting to the good part.
Yeah, I was the driver. Trying to keep everybody at the edge of their seats, all right? So we followed Stephen over to one of him and William's areas where they go to a lot. And I don't want to give too much of a description about where we were at, but at the end of this road, there's a trail going off the back of it. And we pull up, and we turn our vehicles around, and the only trucks are mine and Stephen's. We all piled into mine. And we pulled the vehicles facing out, so just in case we had to hop in and run. And before we get into that part, I'm gonna lighten it a little bit and trying to get the funny off of me for a minute. So I hold a canoe down there, and I have this rack that sticks out about 3 or 4 foot out of the back of my truck, and it goes into the trailer hitch, and the canoe rests on it so I can strap it down, and it stays there. Well, since we had taken the canoes out that day, I didn't have the canoe on the truck, and I told Stephen before we even left, I was like, I'm going to leave that bar on the back of the truck. That way, because it mixes with the night. You can't see it. And maybe if we're away from the trucks walking, maybe a Bigfoot will try to sneak around the truck and hit his shin on that bar and just go, ah, and we'll know where he's at.
Kinda.
We all get out of the truck. We all unload, and I tell everybody, look, there is a bar sticking out of the back of my truck. Watch where you're walking. Not 2 minutes later, Kendall comes walking around my truck and finds that bar. And we're all standing around talking, and all of a sudden there's a boom. And we're like, what was that? And we figure out what it is, and we continue to laugh. And it ends up happening 3 more times. I think, no, 2 more times.
Twice,
he runs into the bars 2 more times in the same spot.
Oh my gosh,
okay,
that was hilarious.
That's out of the way.
Oh
okay.
man,
Right,
it was bad.
Right.
He was so bruised.
Oh man, yeah.
He was
Let's
so
get that out of our
bruised.
system.
Oh. I'm surprised he could walk, honestly.
Well, doesn't that maybe something we have to tell Kendall to do every time? You just carry that on every outing and make sure Kendall walks into it, and that may have been the curiosity that brought that one up.
That's terrible. Oh man.
I'm going to make that happen.
Terrible, but let's do it.
Whether I bring the canoe or not.
You've got to keep that hitch on there.
What I'll do is I'll just keep it in the back of the truck, and when it gets dark, I'll throw it on the back just to see how many times Kendall will find it. Sorry, Kendall.
He was hauling.
You're awesome.
He was hauling butt around the side of that truck, though. I don't know why he was so excited, but oh man, I feel so bad.
That was the second time when he was going around the truck fast, because he was on the passenger side of the truck, and his recorder was sitting on the back of my truck on the driver's side, and the light had went out, like the batteries were dead. So he was like, "What? Why are my batteries dead?" And he ran around real quick. Well, he ran halfway around real quick, and that's when he found the bar. The second time.
Yeah.
Oh man, poor guy. Oh,
yeah.
that was so fun. His pain gives me joy. That was.
All right. So
that
now that
was
we got
pretty
that.
good. Okay. Yeah, we cleared that up.
Yeah. All right. So after that, Kendall and Lauren they decide to walk down this trail behind the trucks at the end of the road. And they're gone for a little bit. And me, Shane, Steven's daughter, and Bill were standing at the front of the trucks, just sitting there chatting. We even messed with the infrared that Bill was using. We kind of were judging the distance on how far Shane could get in the woods before we couldn't see him anymore. We did that for a little bit and chatted and told stories as usual. And after a little bit, I decided that I was going to kind of walk away from everybody about 15 to 20 yards, and I was going to watch down the road because the moon was super bright that night, and you could really see down the road. So I was thinking, I'll just stare down the road and hope something goes across. And I stood there for a few minutes, and then my back was kind of hurting because I'd been standing all day and rowing a canoe by myself all day. So I decided to just kneel down on the road. So I'm kneeling on the road, and I'm sitting there watching down the road, and something to my left catches my eye. And when I glance over, I see it, and it's going from left to right. And what caught my eye was the glare, or the moon was shining on it, and the moon was glaring off of the hair on the back of its head and on the shoulder, and I guess the back of the arm, and it was going from left to right, and it happened just super quick, and it went behind some trees. Well, I hollered at Steven. I was like, "Steven, come here," because he had the night vision goggles, and he walked over, and we scanned the area with the night vision and couldn't quite see anything. We didn't see anything. So we stood there and talked for a couple of minutes, and I told him what I seen, and we decided, well, let's walk down the road a little ways and see if we hear anything take off running or hear anything. So we walked maybe, when I seen it go from left to right, it would have been about 40 to 50 maybe yards away. It's hard to tell in that area. But we walk about 60 yards or so down the road, and we stop, and we're kind of looking around, we're talking, and I think you had been, or was it you or your daughter that had the night vision that was looking around while we were standing there talking? I don't remember.
Sydney had them at that time.
Okay. Well,
Sydney was carrying them. She likes the night vision stuff real well, so I was letting her be in charge of the night vision. And,
well, we were standing there talking, and on the side where I'd seen the thing go from left to right, I thought I had seen some more movement down below us. So I asked for the night vision, and I'm looking, but I can't find the tree in the night vision because it looks completely different, and also it was zoomed, I think, all the way in, and I couldn't figure out how to zoom it out. And about that time, Shane walks up, and during this, Shane and Bill had stayed at the truck. Well, Shane walks up, and right in front of us, right next to the road, is this real little tree, and I stood where I had it lined up with what I thought, with the tree that I thought I saw it go behind. So I had Shane stand right on the left side of that tree, and to use him as kind of a anchor point with the goggles so I'd know where to look.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I pulled up the goggles, and I was working up Shane, and I had him on the left side of the goggles. That way he's not in the full picture. In just a split second, when I stopped, I seen down in it. I think when we had Stephen, when we did the size comparison, I think it was roughly like 60 yards from the road.
Yeah, it's about that at 60.
Yeah. Well, when I got the night vision up, it peeked from around the tree, and I didn't see any actual detail, but I saw the silhouette of the head, the shoulder, and the bright, shiny eye. And it was just that quick. And I immediately went, oh, shit, Stephen here, and handed him the night vision. And I was excited, but at the same time I was trying to comprehend what I saw. Like, I know I've seen it. And my adrenaline was pumping, and Stephen tried to look through the night vision. He didn't see anything. And this whole time, Shane's like, what? Because he's a couple of feet ahead of us, in front of us. And I tell him, he's like, well, let's run down there. And my first thought was like, yeah. And then, but I turned to Stephen, I was like, what has happened before? Have y'all ever just took off running at these things? And I think you said, yeah. I was like, well, what happened?
I've walked toward them before. Most of the time what happens down there with us is they'll come in and we'll get busted, and everything just goes quiet, pretty much like it did that night. I mean, everything was over after the sighting, after we walked into the woods, you know.
Yeah.
But,
well, yeah, at first Shane and I wanted to run in, but we decided to just walk in, pretend like nothing happened, and see if maybe we could see eye shine with the headlamps. We walked all the way down there. We didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything. And which, like, my heart was still pounding on the walk back to the road. I wasn't even mad that we didn't see anything afterwards.
Yeah.
We get about halfway up, and I have Steven stay roughly where I thought it was, and we walk back up to the road with a night vision, and Steven is 6'2".
Yes.
And we get up at me, Shane, and his daughter get back up to the road, and I kind of direct Steven to where it was roughly at, and it was a little bit bigger than him. If he's 6'2", it would have been around 6'6", roughly, give or take, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, it died. We got back to the truck, and about that time, Lauren and Kendall had walked back, and I told them what happened. And
he walked up and said,
"It
happened. It finally happened." I didn't believe him. I thought he was just messing with us. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh, you're serious? Okay."
Yeah.
So then he was he was in shock. I mean, because I was expecting him to be gushing, and then I saw this and this and this and this, and he did. He told us about it. But then he just went, it was almost like he was in shock, because then he just went quiet. And, I think we hung out for a little bit longer, and then we all got in the truck to go back to Thornton's Well, and you were silent the entire time. And I was like, "Are you okay? Yeah. You sure, bud? Because you're not making any noise."
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, the whole ride back, I was replaying it, and, I can still see it. It's burned into my brain. And I just kept replaying it and replaying it and replaying it on the drive back.
Yeah. Well, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
That's going to be with you from now on. You know, it's
yeah.
Well, I've got to ask you, whenever you saw it, you knew what you were looking at, but you were still probably in a little bit of disbelief. Was your mind trying to make you think that it was something other than what you knew that it was?
Are you talking about when it was through the night vision? Because the night vision.
Whenever you saw it, either time there.
Well, when I saw it go from left to right, I saw the silhouette, and I was. In my head, we were standing there looking through the night vision, and I was arguing with myself in my head, did you actually really see what you just saw?
Yeah,
and
that's what
it was. And I was like, no, you seen it. It caught your eye. You looked over, and you saw it go left from right. It wasn't a shadow that moved in the corner of your eye, and when you look over, it was gone. You saw it in the corner of your eye. Yeah. You looked over, and it was still there, and it was moving.
Right.
Yeah. And I think when we walked down, I was still fighting with myself in my head whether I actually seen it. And when it popped up on the night vision that quick, it was kind of it confirmed it, but also at the same time, I was like, I can't believe this is actually. Well, in my head, I was like, I can't believe this is actually effing happening, but
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. And to me, that right there, that was as much fun for me, for you to be able to see one the first time as for me to be able to see it. I'm glad. If I could have had a choice, I would have chose you to see it rather than me that weekend. I mean, because this is something you've been after for a while, and it finally happened for you.
Yeah, it was. I think when we were leaving that spot, everybody else had gotten in the truck, and I had stopped you, and I think I about shook your arm off, shaking your hand, saying thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is what I've been hoping for. These times that we've been going out. I was hoping, actually up there in Oklahoma, whenever I turned my back, when I was hoping that thing, when I turned my back, I was hoping maybe the thing would peek out up there in Oklahoma and maybe you could see it. It was what I was truly hoping for. That didn't happen there. But
that didn't happen for me. I'm always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Oh, you'll get to be the bride. You will be. We'll keep doing this.
At this point, I can't decide whether I'm Squatch repellent or Squatch bait for other people. But if I'm Squatch bait for other people, I'm pretty much okay with that because I don't mind. like Dustin getting his sighting, I didn't feel an ounce of jealousy because I was so excited for him, you know?
Right. Yes.
Like,
oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
just so stoked for him to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
plus, I know he'll be able to talk me off the ledge whenever I see one.
Well, when all that was going on with us, weren't you and Kendall hearing stuff down where y'all were at?
Right, yeah. So Kendall and I were hearing, again, footsteps, and of course Kendall, I love Kendall to death. He likes to play psychological mind games on me. And so I said, we were standing there, and we had walked up the trail by ourselves, and we were just standing there talking. We were actually talking about hormones and how different hormones might attract certain things. And so we're just talking about, it was a scientific conversation, okay? So we were talking, and he asked me, he said, are you hearing anything? And I said, yeah, I'm hearing footsteps. He said 3 o'clock, and I said, yeah. And he said, okay, me too. So we just kept chatting. And then I said, I think we were hearing it because we could hear everybody moving around back at the trucks and, like, shining your lights all over the place. And so we were trying to figure out what was going on back there. And then we heard it go 4 o'clock and then 5 o'clock. And we were like, okay, I was like, is it trying to get between us? Or Kendall said, is it trying to get between us and camp? And I said, oh, maybe, you know, it's trying to see what they're doing. Well, then we heard something about 1 o'clock. And I said, I just heard something about 1 o'clock. I said, I want to walk over there. I want to walk that way. And, of course, Kendall, you know, diabolical mind, he's like, I said, I feel like it's walking away from us. Let's follow it. And Kendall goes, what if it's a trap? What if it's leading you to it so it can attack you? And I'm like, really? This guy. He always does that. He always, like, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm safe in this truck. And Kendall's the one that's like, yeah, it can punch through the window and grab you, though. And I'm just like, Kendall. And then I'm like, oh, but we're safe in this truck. And he's like, man, what if we turned on the lights and there was a tree across the road right in front of us? I'm just like, what? Why? Why would you say that out loud? This guy, he enjoys it far too much. Far too much.
Yeah. Well, the spot where you get to see that one there on that Saturday night, Dustin, it was in October of 2018. That's where I know William talked about it a little bit on SBA and wrote something about it and how we had one recorded coming in. It basically came in from the same direction where you had your sighting at. But in 2018, in October, there was still enough foliage on the trees that we weren't able to see out in there. And that's also the same place where William had a sighting when he talked about his wife was ready to leave him down there in the woods. Her told him, you know, if you hear the truck crank up, you better jump in the back of the truck. That was the same spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when we were going there, I was, you know, I couldn't guarantee, you know, anything we were going to see anything, but I knew that our odds were pretty good in that area, especially being the time of year that it is.
Yeah, I cannot wait to go back. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm ready, and I could be loaded in 30 minutes.
Yeah, same. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Yeah. I got plans.
Well, yeah, after that, we ended up.
Go ahead.
After that, we ended up loading back up, and we went back to Thornton's Wells, and we started hearing a bunch of coyotes going off, but there seemed like there was one or two with them that just didn't sound right.
Right. There were a few things in there that sounded a little bit different from what you normally associate with coyotes to me. And we stayed down there on the boat ramp for quite a while.
I think Shane and I almost fell asleep laying there on that boat ramp. But yeah, they just kept going, and it seemed like they were getting closer, but that last time it seemed like they weren't making any distance, and finally I think Shane had already walked back up to the truck, and me and you were just like, let's call it.
Yeah, yeah. We heard your truck door start opening up and people getting in. We thought, well, that's when Dustin said, well, I guess they're ready to go.
Well, Bill was in the truck.
What's funny, yeah. No, we got there and everybody was in the truck.
Yeah.
Don't put that on Bill. All y'all were in the truck.
Bill started
and everyone was acting like they were tired, so we were like, all right, let's just head back to camp. And I assumed we'd get back to camp and everybody would go to bed. And that was at maybe, I don't even know what time it was.
3.
I don't know. I don't remember what time.
3:30 a.m. Yes, and we did not go to bed till 4:30 a.m. Yeah.
You kind of sound like
I remember
Siri
this.
there.
My old bones felt it.
But yeah, we ended up stoking the fire back up and sat there and talked for, I think it was longer, but anyways, we got close to watching the sun come up, and that 5-hour drive the next day was rough.
We only got 3 hours of sleep before we all woke up and packed up.
But we got to hang out with Keith Crabtree before we left, which was awesome. Heard some of his great stories. I can't wait to go back and hang out with him, Will, Steven. They're awesome guides. They're awesome people. And I always enjoy being in camp with them. And they have got some awesome vocals.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even though
I always say,
even though Steven can.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Oh no. Go ahead.
I was going to say, they have awesome vocals, even though Steven will sneak up on you with a couple of them and scare you right out of your boots.
My favorite part of the weekend was how many times I asked him to do it to scare you. Because he would tell me, he'd give me a heads up, he'd be like, oh, hey, Lauren. He's like, heads up, I'm going to do a vocal, because it'll scare the crap out of you if you're not ready, especially if he does his scream, because it's like a dadgum Sasquatch is standing next to you and lets out a scream. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Wait till Dustin starts walking back over here and then do it. All weekend.
Yeah, I think
sorry, Dustin.
Lauren, I don't know. That was the time whenever you accused Dustin of running, and he said he wasn't running.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's whenever he was walking away after the recorder thing, and he slipped off the woods, and then we get something thrown at us, and he walks. He's hauling butt, and I was like, "Are you running?
No,
where are you going?"
I was not running. I was having an angry walk back to the truck.
Oh, is
that
fast. What it was? Oh, walking real fast. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll protect your integrity here.
Y'all already messed that up for me tonight, so.
Yeah. Well,
you redeemed yourself with a sighting. You had a sighting. It's fine. You're good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You completely redeemed yourself on Saturday night, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
I'm still sore.
Still sore.
I'm still sore about the rock throwing, and so.
I bet you are. You threw it pretty hard.
Yeah. Hey, I bet if you had
in the wrong direction.
I bet if you had if you had a radar gun on it, I bet it would have been 100.
It went straight up in the air. What were you aiming at?
I was trying to make a shooting star for y'all. All right.
Well, you succeeded in that at least. I don't think we didn't follow the rock. We were too busy looking at you like, what you dancing? What are you doing there? Doing some ballet leaps across the gravel. It was great. It was a great weekend. I wouldn't change a thing about the weekend, even being shot at, great people, great place to camp, just a great place to be. It was a really great weekend. So we appreciate you coming on tonight, Stephen, and helping us relive that and keep us straight on our places and names and everything. And we appreciate you taking us out there.
Yeah, we've got some other spots I can take you to next time you come down. That's other places we've had sightings. Of course. And we've had encounters, so to speak. I've got to take you to the place I've renamed Deliverance sometime whenever y'all come down now. I just hope there's no moon out whenever we drive in there.
Oh yeah. And that's the only part of the weekend I guess I would change is the moon was pretty dang bright when we were down there.
Yeah, but all in all, I mean, it's still a really good weekend though. So
yeah,
even with the moon like it was. Yeah.
Yep. That's the truth. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, helping us say our piece, and thank you again for escorting us around. We're definitely coming back. Justin, do you have anything to add? You want to save your manhood a little bit, or no?
No. See, not everybody's perfect. I'm close, but I'm not perfect. All right. So.
Well, that's what I'm here for, to be perfect. So.
Sorry, I'm allergic. That's all I got. Stephen, thank you again for taking us out. I don't know if Will listens to the show. If he does, Will, thank you so much for your hospitality. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, everybody that came out. We had a blast, and we cannot wait to go back down there. And I am going to be down there soon. I don't know when, but I'm going to be down there before it gets hot. So I cannot wait to get back down there. So, and also we won't be having a show next week or the week after due to the holidays. I do have a show scheduled. Well, I say scheduled. I know who I'm bringing on, and it's a secret, but we don't know exactly what day it's going to release, but it's going to be an awesome story, and I think everybody will love it. So it'll be, y'all are going to have to do without us for about 2-3 weeks. So
he's talking about himself. He's going to have himself on. Isn't that vain? It's ridiculous.
Y'all are welcome.
He's not having himself. He is not having himself on. I'm kidding. It is going to be a great show. So the person we have on will be really good. And we are really excited we have a whole year lined up of great guests to bring on and great things to bring you guys. So, just if y'all have a guest in mind or a researcher that you guys want to have on the show, just go ahead and message us or email us and just tell us about that person and how to get in contact with them, and we can see if they want to come on the show so we can interview them. I know there are a lot of researchers that we don't know about in other states, other countries, so you guys contact us. Our email address is NiteCallers, and that's NITE, NiteCallers_BTR@yahoo.com. All right.
All right. Stephen, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Love having you on. And we hope you and everybody else has a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I guess technically we'll see all y'all next year.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody.
You made the dad joke. You did the dad joke. It was terrible. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio.